Hey, what is up everyone? It says, welcome back to another Battlefield 6 video. Battlefield 6 lead multiplayer producer said that Bad Company 2 was a huge inspiration for the new game, and you can't argue with his logic. When you look for excellence in our legacy, that's where you find it. So this article came out over on PC Gamer just before the beta came out, and I think it was very interesting, and I think it's good to know in what type of mindset they were when they were building Battlefield 6 multiplayer. And this article claims it was in the mindset of Bad Company 2, a beloved Battlefield game, one of my favorites as well. So let's check it out. Since we first started hearing about the game that would become Battlefield 6, EA has talked up its mission to recapture the golden years of Battlefield 3 and 4. While it's definitely on track to do that after my 4 hours of playtime last week, what revved me up was how much Battlefield 6 reminds me of Battlefield Bad Company 2. It's well documented that the Battlefield series follows the Mario Kart rule. The one you play the most or first is probably still your favorite. For me, nothing has stood the test of time like Bad Company's 2 curated selection of modes, perfectly sized maps, and free-form destruction that let players blow most buildings apart until they were nothing but a pile of disintegrated concrete. Here is my most played Battlefield game, and I think it's true to an extent that when you have a favorite Battlefield game or the one you have the most played hours on, you do tend to compare other Battlefield games to that Battlefield game. Definitely, I'm also guilty of this, let's call it, sin. When I look at Battlefield 3's weapons, the sound design of guns like M16A3, G3A3, or the vehicles, the M1 Abrams engine sound, the T90 appearance, the sound of the Viper or the FA-18 Super Hornet, those sounds are the ones which I recognize when I'm thinking about Battlefield 3 vehicles, because I have 3,000 hours in Battlefield 3. Also, these 3,000 hours in Battlefield 3 are only counted for the public matches. I also played about 1,000 hours of competitive unranked matches as well in different leagues, ESL, BNL, and so on. So give or take 4,000 hours. And for example, when Battlefield 4 came out and I heard that the guns sound a little bit different, I would call them plastic. Even today, like Ace-23 or AIK sounded a bit worse to me than Battlefield 3. That maybe doesn't mean that they're necessarily worse, I just prefer the ones I was hearing for the past 4,000 hours. What is your most played Battlefield game? Leave a comment down below. If you guys are planning to play Battlefield 6, I will be going pretty hard in Battlefield 6 and I would love to have you with me, so consider subscribing and dropping a like. Thank you so much. The qualities of Battlefield Bad Company 2, particularly its destruction, is what served a really huge inspiration for Battlefield 6, claims DICE lead multiplayer producer Jeremy Chubb. When you look for excellence in our legacy, Bad Company 2 is where you find it. That game particularly delivered on a level of fidelity and a sort of intimate destructive experience. Blasting out a single wall, bringing down a partial building or entire buildings, it was comprehensive, and it felt like the identity of that game more than anything else. We know that was kind of missing from our last game, meaning Battlefield 2042, and we really wanted to go back to exactly that. The only problem I see with that mentality is, wouldn't then Battlefield 6 destruction be compared to Bad Company 2? Is it really better in Battlefield 6? Did they really innovate anywhere with the destruction? Or is it just same copy-paste destruction from Bad Company 2? Because I might be here in a very, very small minority, but I generally don't like when games just copy older games and just kind of remake systems and then repackage them all and sell it to us. Most famously, these are all the game remakes that have been happening over the last couple of years. In fact, I'm not the only one who feels that way. Even the famous developer Hideo Kojima hates playing remakes because he finds that the lack of innovation is something that is pretty scary in the current modern video game industry. Now, of course, we do know that EA and DICE have innovated with Battlefield 2042, and it was a goddamn disaster. I acknowledge that. But I think a good level of innovation with good use of other older assets is probably a good mix. But I have to be honest here, guys, I do like how Battlefield 6 looks. I do think it's going to be a pretty successful game, but it is rather pretty by the books, you know what I mean? There isn't much new here. We get, what do we get? We get destructions, we get breakthrough, we get conquest, we get this and that, and yeah, it's just Battlefield like the older games. So I think the reason why Battlefield 6 is always getting so harshly judged, also by myself as well, is because we do compare it to the older games because it's taken so heavily from those games. Previously, I mentioned I have 4,000 hours in Battlefield 3. If there's going to be an M16 in Battlefield 6, of course I'm going to compare it to the Battlefield 3 M16. And if it sounds worse, at least in my opinion, I'm going to feel a little bit bummed down about it, you know what I'm saying? The interview finished like this. I asked Chubb about Bad Company 2 just minutes after finishing a match of Battlefield 6 on Liberation Peak. Liberation Peak is Capstone from Battlefield Labs. a map with a mix of mountains, villages, and roadways that reminded me of how DICE built maps in 2010. Wide open, but with the oblong shape designed to funnel the action toward a few checkpoints. The map played very well, and the destruction didn't disappoint. Every wall and floor I tried to blow up did indeed blow up, and like in Bad Company 2, structures can only take so much punishment before the whole thing collapses, killing anyone inside. But you don't have to mark my word for it much longer. The Battlefield 6 open beta begins this week, and if you sign up for Battlefield Labs before July 31st, you're all in. It's possible there'll be another beta opportunity before Battlefield 6 releases in full on October the 10th. Speaking about Battlefield 6 open beta, here are a few technical heads up you gotta keep in mind. You need to update your NVIDIA/AMD drivers if you actually want to play the open beta. I tried to start the client today to set up my options, and I have an old driver from a while ago. I didn't update my drivers in a while because the newer drivers I heard were not good and they were melting some cards, so I just decided to stay with 572.83, but you need to get these new ones, so keep that in mind. On top of that, of course, you need to have this damned secure boot, so you need to find what motherboard you have. Do you have an MSI, do you have an Asus, or whichever one, and then you just go on YouTube and find a video how to enable the secure boot on your motherboard. It doesn't have to be the exact model, just know the company. If it's Asus, it will have a specific UI which is different from MSI. The reason I'm saying this is because many people don't know how to do the secure boot, but I'm just letting you know you need both the secure boot and the new drivers to just launch Battlefield 6 open beta, and I would highly recommend you do this now, today or tomorrow, before the beta. You don't want to deal with this stuff just when the beta comes out and everybody starts playing the game and you're there fumbling with drivers and this motherfucking secure boot. Just handle this now. I highly advise you that. I also decided to do some serious upgrades on my computer. Here are the specs I'm going for. I placed the order today. I had a pretty old processor and I had a 4080 Super, which is still working very well. I'm gonna drop that on eBay, sell that, and this is what I'm going for. Let me know how you feel about the specs down in the comment section. What type of computer are you having for Battlefield 6? Are you upgrading or are you sticking with your guns? Let me know. And yeah, that's the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then leave a like and a comment. If you're new here, you're gonna play Battlefield 6, you wanna have good guide from a very skilled infantry and vehicle player, I'm your guy. I'm gonna be posting daily videos about Battlefield 6. Would love to have you there. Have a great day, and I think I'll see you in the open beta. Bye bye.